So good morning, guys. Good morning. Yes, good morning. We're on day 25 of 100 days of code, which is amazing because we are a quarter of the way through this challenge. I can't believe it. Like, I actually can't believe it. It's just flying. It feels way quicker. Oh no, it feels much quicker than the first time around. Or does it? Like, I don't know, but I remember in the middle last time I was like, this is taking forever. This is just taking so long. Whereas now I'm like, day 25? What's going on? Just keep busy and time flies, you know? So, okay, great. I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Let's get into it. Off we go, listening to the video. So this was pre-wrote code from Max that Max gave us in order to give us a starting project, and he just said there that we had some login function in the app.js file, and I was like, I don't remember writing that, but then yes, I didn't, because Max wrote this code. Okay, so here we go. Very good. So this is how the login is being stored. So if we're logged in, okay, this is great. So here we have our app. So this code was pre-wrote, and we've been working on the login.js file, doing different things over there in order to validate and remember the email and password that was passed in. But once you pass those pieces of data in, the email and the password, it will log in for you. So I'll just display this now. Day 25, you know, need some display. Now what are you joking at? This is what I do every day. So I'll just log in. Okay, so now welcome back. We're logged in. So that's great. That's what we've been seeing. But this is the component now, the app component that's actually managing this, that's logging us in, I should say. So from the login, we pass in the email and the password, which we set up over the last few days in a few different ways. So check out, sorry I have an itchy back, check out those videos if you're interested in that. Just to the last few days, 4 or 5 days, it's been going on for a while, but we've been learning a lot. So then if we come back to the app component, this is the component that is that's actually logging us in. So here we have function app, which is the name of this component. It's wrote in a function format. This isn't an arrow function, so this is a good example to show you that when you're declaring a React component, it doesn't have to be an arrow function. It just has to be a function. An arrow function is just the new ES6 way of writing a function. So they're both functions, like they're just both functions, and one is a slightly more modern way of doing a function. So oh, I don't know why I'm so giddy all the time, because it's early or late. Like in work, I'm just sitting there doing my work, but in the morning and the evening, I don't know, I guess I'm one with the moon. I don't know. Anyway, so then we have this use state being declared, and this sorry, I'm just crying from laughing now. So this use state is tracking the state of this particular variable we have here is logged in. I really need to get the exact names of these. Like, is this an array? Is this an array, guys? When I'm using use state, is that an array? Let's just have a quick look at the documentation after I finish what I'm saying here, because I do go on tangents. So we've declared a use state. This use state takes in 2 items, and the 2 items it takes is a variable, or yes, a variable, because it's not a constant. Even though it's declared as a constant array, this is not a constant because it changes. We're tracking the state of it. So this is the thing we actually change the state of and track the state of. and then you pass in the function, and the function is how you update this particular item. So if you want to update the isLoggedIn variable that you're tracking, you use this setIsLoggedIn, and then you can just pass it in the new value, and this new value true is updating this particular component. And this seems to be a very important concept in React. Well, it is, I know that much now from getting used to React. It is. So useState is a way of managing the state or tracking something, which is going to happen very often. You know, you're going to want to see, oh well, if this starts as this particular value and then it changes, you know, it can be used to toggle on and off views, to as a little flag. It's generally something that is one item that you want to track the state of it. In useState, you're tracking the state of one singular thing. So it's very, very, very useful, you know. So this is a key concept in React, and it's called a React hook. Arr, like a pirate. So yes, it's called a React hook. Just trying to enunciate that was strange. So now, then we have a use effect. And what use effect is doing is when you want to use other things, use effects as in set timeouts or accessing the local storage. So it's not done in the browser. Man, I am learning so much. This is so good. I love this. So yes, use effect, because for a moment I was like, oh no, what does that do? This is what it does. It's for tracking things that aren't part of React already. So things that happen in the browser, if that's what I said the first time, but things like set timeout and the local storage. There's other examples as well. We're also going to have a quick look at this just to get our terminology down, which I think, I wouldn't worry guys, I think I've been explaining it pretty spot on, to be honest. I've confidence in myself that I have been explaining this correctly to you guys, and wherever I haven't have said, I've been explaining it good. So, you know, we should just keep going here. So then we have a login handler, and the handlers are run when you want to do something on clicking, or you know, you're trying to handle the login here. So that's what the handlers are. So if we go down to where the login handler is being called, we can see here we have an onLogin prop being passed to the login component. So this is a prop. So then if we go to login, we'll be able to see this onLogin function. Or at least I would have thought we would have. Let's just search for onLogin now. Okay, yes, yep. So here, okay. So here we have a submit handler, right? Which is called on the form submit. So onSubmit is already linked to a form. You can just use that with forms. You know, it's not a prop. We haven't defined this ourselves. It comes with the form. So onSubmit comes with the form tag, and they're linked. So whatever you put into the onSubmit is what runs when you click the submit button of a form. So if we go down here and look at the submit button on the form, see this button here has the type submit, which is linked to the onSubmit on the form. And then I actually love coding. And then once you come up here, and this just comes with time guys, I'm just realizing like how much like fun this is. And this is just great. Like, I remember being so confused. Just keep at it guys, keep at it. It keeps making more and more and more and more sense. I promise you. You just have to put in the time. Dedicate 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, every day. Just do it every single day. Slow and steady wins the race. I can 100% tell you that guys. That's how after a year of coding at home by myself, I got my first development role, and from there it was just constantly putting in the hours in work and at home, because I just wasn't competent enough yet, I felt, to even be employed. But hey ho, I was. So just have faith in yourself, tip away at it, and continue on, you know, just tip away. Even 15 minutes a day, you're going to see progress. And as much, you know, if you're sitting at home and you have like the whole day, I mean, do as much as you feel comfortable with. But if I wasn't working and I was trying to get into this, and or I was working, whatever you can manage. But if it's something that you actually want to learn and you want to get a job in, you know, an hour, 2, 3, as much time as you can comfortably fit in, but just make a schedule and stick to it. Like, if you have the time, at least an hour a day, and if you don't, even 15 minutes a day, you're going to see the benefit. Just do it every day. Obviously, if you miss a day here and there, that's okay, but slow and steady wins the race, and every day this just starts to compound. Your learning starts to compound. That's what I believe. I think that's like a fact. So, and it's worked for me. I'm speaking from my own experience here. I'm not leading you astray. This is how I got a job, so do it, you know. So the onSubmit is linked to the form, and then here we can see the function that this is running is the submitHandler in this case, and that's when we click that type submit button in the form as well. That's the button that signals run up onSubmit. What's onSubmit doing? It's running the submitHandler. So if we come in here, you can CTRL and click that, but we can see it there anyway. But that brings you to the function if you just CTRL and left click on the mouse. Is that a left? Or is that backwards? That looks correct. Okay. So then we come to the submitHandler, and that takes the event. So what's in these brackets is what's being passed into this function, okay? And what we're passing in the event is just what's happened when you click that button. So if we go back down to submit, okay, so that's just the button, and then we have a class name and disabled if the form is not valid. So then here in the submitHandler, we're passing in the event. The event is, again, just built in JavaScript, and you can console log out this event and have a look at it, and you'll see what the event is. So I'll actually do that. So next time we click that button, you can have a look at what the event looks like, because it's just an event and you can do things with it. Oh, so let's do that, and we'll do a comma, and we will give ourselves a semicolon. So there we go, and now we have event.preventDefault. So we want to stop the default propagation of the event. I need to check this up as well, because it's coming up a lot in this course and I actually don't know what it's doing. So that should be fine. The events interface, preventDefault, tells the user agent that the event does not get explicitly handled. Its default action should not be taken as it normally would be. So let's check the web docs as well, because they give slightly more. Okay, so this is from the web doc, so that's great. So all it's doing is just saying we don't want to handle this the normal way. The event continues to propagate as usual unless one of its event listeners calls stop propagation. I put my hand over to the side and realised you couldn't see it, and then I thought you don't even need to see it, but stop propagation or stop immediate propagation, either of which terminates propagation at once. Okay, as noted below, calling preventDefault for a non-cancelable event without specifying cancelable true has no effect. Okay, cool. That's grand. So it just stops the default action as it normally would be. Grand. Which, you know, that's pretty obvious. But I guess I need to look into like what is the default action now. Like what exactly is it stopping? So, but we won't do that right now. We will. We all need to know, don't we? So what is the default action on an event? I shouldn't be keeping so event JavaScript. So this is where you get better and better as well, guys, at searching in the beginning, looking for an issue. Can be difficult because you just don't know You just don't know how to even properly search for things. Default actions and event handlers in JavaScript. This title just sort of sings to me. So, okay, cool. So I've already learned something. So I'll just zoom in on this. Some of the elements support default actions for some events. For example, when we click on a link, the browser loads the page in its href specified. So when you click on a link, the browser loads up the href attribute. Cool. This is the default action. Cool. Caused by a click event on a link. So when we click on a link, the browser loads the href attribute. That is the default action. So this preventDefault would probably stop that. What will happen if we provide an event handler for the same event on which there is already a default action support? Okay. So exactly, so we have an onClick event here, and rather than just going and doing what onClick normally does, we want to handle it slightly differently. We want to add some more functionality. Maybe we want to, this is just a guess, but like validate that click, or check something in the event before we go ahead and continue on with the default behavior, or perhaps slightly modify the default behavior. So that's what's going on. Like literally clicking a link, the default action is open the page. Common sense. That makes, not everything is easy once you know how. It is not common sense. Everything has to be learned. So if you didn't know that, don't think, oh, I didn't get that. Common sense isn't all that common, and everything has to be learned. So we are learning. Next. In the case of click on a link, the event handler must be executed first. Okay. If an event causes both a default action and execution of an event handling script, the event handling script is executed first, the default action takes place afterwards. So we are using event handlers to do our own thing with this event, and this is telling us that if in the case of clicking a link, the flow of what happens to that link changes. So first of all, the event handler script is executed. So the code we wrote to handle this event is first executed, and then the default action takes place afterwards. So by putting in a handler and stopping the default action, all we're doing is say, run our method, do what we've told you to do, because that's what's going to be executed first anyway. And then the default action would have taken place afterwards, but we've said, don't do it, is what I think is going on. So let's see now. Now we make some changes to our example. How will this link behave? Ta-da-da! Let's see, Inspector Cluedo. So a href, some link, on click, do something. So this do something function is going to run when we click it, and then it has a return false. So by doing so, how will this link behave when we click it? Well, when we click it, we have prevented the default action, which is this return false, I presume, and therefore the link is never followed. Like sometimes you just get into the habits of like adding this stuff into your code and not understanding it. So this is actually, this is what we should be doing. Because if I don't understand something, maybe you don't understand it as well, and I should understand it. So this is great. So yes, so by doing so, we have prevented the default action, and therefore the link is never followed. The event handler can return a boolean true or false. Returning false means the default action is prevented. Cool. Does returning false to prevent the default action work in all browsers? Yes, it works in all browsers. Cool. Can default actions for all events be prevented? So we can see there for on click it can be, which is the case that we're using it in, because we're clicking a button and we've prevented the default action on button click, and then we're giving it our own handler function in order to run our own code on click, So the answer is no, we can't do it for all default actions. For example, we cannot prevent the default action of an unload event. It's not difficult to understand why. Great, sounds even better. Suppose the user closes the browser window, causing an unload event in the page in the window. If we could prevent unloading, that means the window stays open regardless of the wishes of the user. So that does make sense. So an unload function is ran when you close a page, and like you can't reverse that in the code because the page has been clicked, the user wants to close the page. It doesn't make sense in that case. We just can't do it. That sort of makes sense, you know. Otherwise it's going to just like stay open. That's why that doesn't work. Is there any exception to the return false rule? Who wrote this? Because this person explains things well. Exploring tech, I do not know. Oh, Rasha Singh. Good man, Rasha Singh. Or lady, who knows? You know, I'm going to save this page because you know what you're talking about and I like your blog. So I'm just going to save that. Links to keep. There you go. You know, thank you, Rasha. Look at all this stuff. Oh my god. I'm going to look at your other stuff. I just like how they have explained this concept. I like it. So, are there any other ways by which we can prevent the default action? Yes. There's a bit of a strange yes. The modern event handling models have added some new ways of preventing the default. Prevent default. This is what we're using. So cool. Yes, we can prevent the default action in other ways, and this is the way we're doing it. So cool. Microsoft has added the property return value to the event. So if we set it to false, the default action is prevented. So we can do it by setting return value to false or running this method prevent default to the event, which is what we're doing. And then we understand what's going on there. There's a default action on some events that you can stop, and we want to stop the default action so we can handle it ourselves. Makes sense. It makes sense. We are learning learning together forever. Da da da. Sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. That's what we're doing. So we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going. So that's what's happening there. Now we know what that line is doing. And then we have props.onLogin. So this is props is what gets passed from somewhere else. So the props in this case has got passed from here. So we have our login component being used, and we have our onLogin prop, and that's going to run the login handler. So here on login, what we've passed through to that is the email reduce state dot value and the pass reduce state dot value, which is just the email and the password, because we got these yesterday by use reducer, which is just tracking the state of the email, and of the password, and we're just getting the value attribute, which we just named that ourselves, but we have the value, which is the exact what we have entered into that email box and what we've entered into the password box, and we're passing those through to the on login. And that's the props on login is defined here. So here we have the login, and you can see the props there. When we've used this component in the app.js, the login component, you just use it like this, because this is how you use a React component that you've created yourself. So we just say login like this, and that's going to pull in that login component now. So we'll see the login component on our page because we have this, but it's expecting props. So see? So here is our previous login component showing on the app.js. And then we can also see the second login component that we've just added that we haven't yet logged in. So that's all we've done there. And then once you've defined your component and you want to use it or insert it somewhere, your own homemade component, then you also pass in the props if it's expecting those props. So the props that we've passed in is coming from the login component, and we can see here we have email reduce state and pass reduce state being passed in. So we have our email and our password. It's actually literally just what we put into the email box and the password box that gets sent over to the app.js, And then once we have that information, we run the login handler, which is handling this login. So there we go. Here we can rename those inputs coming in as just email and password, because that makes sense. And then what we're going to do is get our local storage, set the item, and what we want to do is we have this variable use state, and we have, which I imagine is what we've done, yeah, so here we have a use state, we've declared is login, and then we have the function set is logged in order to set this is logged in variable. And down here we're just setting it to 1 or true. We've logged in. So here in our local storage we have that saved locally, so we should remain logged in because of this line. And then here we've also just set that variable back to true, so that's what's going on. Set is logged in to true, yeah. So I'm just gonna, don't know why, well, you know, it's all going down. It's all going down around the town. Okay, so that's what's going on there. And then I'm gonna just continue to watch the video and see what's happening. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we're either passing in the login or the logout handler. So, yeah. So what we can see here is we have, if you are not logged in, we're going to show the login component, and then we run the login handler in order to allow you to log in. If you are logged in, then we show the home component, this welcome back component instead, and you have the option to instead log out. So this is conditionally showing one view or another view dependent on whether or not you're logged in. So, and that's because we have this state handler which tracks the state of something, which can tell you, is it yes, is it no? So that's why we use that use state. And this is saying it is not. This little exclamation, that's not an exclamation, but the exclamation is not in coding. So if you do this, that means is not equal to, and if you do this, that means is equal to. Just, you know, all these things need to be learned. We recap things here in this channel. That's the point, the learning that I wanted to give to people. So I hope it's valuable to you guys. Come on up, and I'm just learning anyway. So this is the is not and logged in, which shows if you're not logged in, you have the option to log in. If you are logged in, we just show the home, and you can choose to log out from here. So there's the log out button, which works. So what we can also do is if we go to the home, so let's just have a look at the log out handler, because all that should be doing is setting it back to false. Yeah, so that worked. We just seen it logged out, and it also removes it from local storage, so we can save this in the browser, although that does not seem to work. So we'll log in again, log in, there we go. Let's actually go and check our local storage. This is so funny how well my learning is aligning with what I'm doing in work, because like literally use state I had to use like yesterday. I guess these are just very common things in React and you're going to see them a lot. But then use reducer I tried to use, and then I was also checking the local storage, and I set my own variable for the local storage. So like this is just coinciding with my work so well. So like that is great. Like literally it's like I do the class one day and then I need to go and do that in work that same day. It seems easier here, but like I guess different code bases it is a bit more complex, and you learn as you go. We're getting better every day, guys. We are getting better every single day. So there's no hassle, there's no stress. Do your best. That's what we're here doing. So you know, it's all good in the hood, as I like to say, even though we're not in anywhere. We're just in Ireland. So if I reload this page, now we have our page, and we have our logged in value here, but we have not remained logged in. So what's going on, mate? Do you know what? I'll show you the debugger thing because that's cool. I think you can use it here. I use it in work anyway, and that is cool. So let's just show you this. I hope this works now. I don't know if it will. So here, we've set our login handler, right? We're trying to stay logged in. So let's go and stick a debugger statement up here and see what's going to happen. Debugger, does this work? Oh my god, it does. So this is a React thing. Love that. I didn't know where it originated from. The code base I work with is like a bit more complex, and we use Next.js and we use different things. Don't know if I should go listing everything here, but we use a myriad of technologies, with React being our main framework. So, and this, a guy in work showed me how to use this. Shout out to that guy in work. If you ever see this video, you know how helpful you are. Really appreciate it. And he showed me how to use this, so thank you. You know, I just get better every day under your instruction, and I really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah, fantastic. So I've stuck in this debugger statement here, right? So cool. So then if I reload this page, hopefully this works now. If I reload this page, it should stop for us at that debugger. Oh, what a waffly Jane. No joy. Right, I don't know how this, like what actually makes this work. I just stuck that in and work, and then you can like step through the code. Okay, so I just put it at the wrong place. So you can use it. Oh, because I hadn't went into that function yet, of course. Oh my god, okay. So now we have it stopped at our debugger statement. And now we can step through the code nice and slowly and see what's going on here. So I will just, okay, so so exciting. So right now we can see at the moment, did I even put it in the right place? Who knows, but we're going to figure that out now. So what this putting in this debugger statement does is it allows you to step through your code, and it does take a bit of time to get used to this, like debugging in general, but you only learn through practice. So let's get in and learn together. So here we have our debugger statement, right? This is telling us use state, what use state is initially set as, so you can see inside of your functions basically and see the values that have been given and stuff, so it's really handy. So here we have is logged in is currently false. We are not logged in. Set is logged in is a function. See, it's like a dispatch action that has the brackets, so like it's dispatching some sort of action. And then, so it just gives you information, you know, and then here you can see like that same thing, like it's just saying what's going on there. So set is logged in is a function. Here we're setting is logged in to true. So if we just keep clicking this little arrow or the play, okay, so this would go to the next function, and then this is just going to go step by step. So let's go. Okay, so now we're just still here. Okay, so now if we log in, I should have had a debugger in here as well, but let's just see. Okay, great. So now if I log in, it runs this page again, and then we can step into the login handler with this step into. So we do step into it. Brilliant. And now, so good. And now we can just keep on pressing play, play, play in order to go through this function line by line and see what's going on in there. So let's do that. Oh, no, that wasn't the right button. Anyway, you know, it's very useful. Let's just do it again. So we'll log out. Okay. Right, so now we're logged out. Let's log back in. Let's log back in. And we press play. Oh fuck, sorry. excuse that I shouldn't hope you did. I hope you didn't hear that. So then we're going to step into the login handler. And how do I just go slowly? I thought it was play. Yeah, resume script execution. But then it just finishes. Like I wanted to go here and then here, you know. So let's try again. There can only be like a few answers to this. So this is like all the initial states what we have at the moment. So is logged in. It's already set to true. So is logged in is true now. Alright, okay. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, because we did that up in the use effect, so that's fine. So use effect, okay, so we have set is logged in to true in the use effect. And then in the login handler, or we're checking if it's logged in. Yeah, so if the stored login is equal to triple equal to 1, which means is this definitely 1, aka 1 is also true, 0 is also false. It's just a boolean. Boolean is an on and off switch, true or false, 1 or 0. So that's just like coding concepts, you know. So check out booleans. If you don't know something about booleans, check that out. It's important. The basic coding concepts. So I'm just going to take a note because we do need to cover this at some stage just to discuss it. It's going to come up all the time and it can just be confusing until someone says that's what it is, and then you're like, oh yeah, makes sense. So, and hopefully that already made sense. So if stored user is logged in is 1, then set is logged into true. So that's why it's already set. And then we're coming in here to the login handler and we're passing in the email and password that we've sent over. And we want to set the local storage to 1 and then set is logged into true. And I don't know how to like step. Oh fuck. Excuse me. No, what is that step where? Just step. Oh sure. Where on earth am I now? Well, maybe, yeah. So now maybe I'm in the, I don't know where I am, let's not lie. Haven't got a notion. But I know I'm in the deep React, you know. So when you use something like use state or use ren, any of the hooks, when you use the hooks, use effect for example, when you're calling that built-in function, you know, it's going to do its own thing in order to do whatever that use state thing does, setting the state. So it has its own code, React. So that's basically what I'm trying to explain here. That, I mean, I'm not exactly sure where we are, but this is an inbuilt JavaScript function. So this is all the things that's going off and doing. When you use something as simple as use state, you know, it has to go and do different things there, which make that use state manage the state. So now we're in a loop, obviously. Oh, while work in progress is not equal to null, so work in progress is still not equal to null, which is why we just keep going back in here. So now we will step out, step into the next function, step into the next function, next, next, next. So this is the button I was looking for then. Did I not try this one? I thought this was going to just bring me to the next function. This one brought me to the next function. Oh, I don't know. Like, in all honesty, lads, I need to get better at debugging, so have mentioned that before. So now we're going to step into the next function and step into it again. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we have our answers. So we have our answers here. So is logged in 1, okay, and then set is logged in is just a function, and our login handler takes in an email and a password. Like, no, I want to go slower so I can just see that being true. But anyway, that's what I was trying to do. This is why I don't last very long. Like, I really do need to properly figure out the debugger, because it's so powerful, and I was flying with it yesterday in work and it was really helping. And then, but I did have a call with that person who showed me how to use the debugger, and they were just like, oh, press that, and I was like, this is amazing. So yeah, I had someone guiding me first. Anyway, gonna look into this, guys, and report back, because it's an important and helpful tool, and we both need to get better at it, or certainly I do. Maybe you guys are flying, and if so, who wants to do a video for me? No, I just need to do some research, which I will do. So cool. And now we're gonna keep on going. So let's actually just code. All I've been doing is waffling, but I hope helpful waffle, explanatory waffle, and I hope you've picked up a few things along the way, how it's all tying together. These are the things that just you need a bit of practice at, and they do become apparent. So we'll keep going. And encouragement. I want to encourage you guys. I know how hard it was for me learning in the beginning, and how, you know, I was very, very, very lucky that I have my dad being my cheerleader in the back of the room going, Leanne, you can do this, you are not an idiot, just keep up with it. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. So look, we all need encouragement, so that's something else I really, really, really want to give on this channel, because not everybody has it. And look, guys, I am here for you to encourage you. That's my prerogative. That's the only reason I started doing this. Someone needed to explain something at the level I'm at, not from way more above, where things are just second nature and they skip small little steps that leaves a beginner totally lost. And a bit of encouragement, because we all need that, you know, we all need a little bit of encouragement, and that's what I want to do for you guys. So that's my main prerogative. So let's keep going. Sorry, belly rumbling. If you could hear that, that was a loud one. So now what we can do is in our home component up here, we can pass in a button that's going to allow us to log out on our home component. Yes. Okay. So we add in a button. Sorry, I was just thinking there. Button. So this is our own homemade button component, because that's how we've declared it there. On click, which must be in our UI folder, yeah. And then we do equals and some parentheses and props dot on logout. And then we're going to just close this off and give it the text logout. So we can just add that there to run that same function, log out. Yeah. Button is not defined. Oh yes, it is. So if we come down here, there's our button. So we can just import, I'll add it here, button from, we need to go up a level, I'm sure, yeah, into UI, into button, and that's it. And button, yeah. And there we go. So now we got our button. Yep. Okay. The mornings can just take a jump for the moment. So I'm just listening to Max. Sorry about the chair, guys. Someday. Oh, shh. Okay, so still just listening to Max. Damn, I'm hungry. Water for the moment till I'm finished. Then I'll go and get some grub. Okay, great. So say for example we have a chain of components here that's handling the login, and we have another one here that's handling the products, right? So this could be coming from the app, and then we have an auth component and a login, and then we have login data being stored in the login component itself. Then down this arm, also coming from the app, we have a shop component, products, and a singular product. And then we want to add a product to a cart, but then we have a cart component over here, and we want to pass the products to the cart. So the way it works is you can pass data back up via props to the parent component, and then that's how you would, then you pass it to the highest level parent that both of these components have in common in order to use that data in those components, which depending on how big your app gets, you know, you might be passing it up a few parents before you can finally squirrel it on over and use it in, for example, the cart, the product data in the cart, and you also want to use that login data over in the cart. So a way to handle this in a better way is to use context, and context is a way to just pass stuff around the place if you need to, if you're not sending it back up to the parent, you know. So let's keep on listening, and we're going to start using context, and that's really exciting too. I feel like this concept I should be familiar with, because the concept of it I am, but I'm not sure how he's going to actually do this right now, so we'll find out. Okay, great. Cool. Max is the man. Oh, it just unmuted itself. Okay, cool. So now, if we just close our UI folder, close our login, we close our home, we have our components folder here. And we're going to create a new folder and our folder is going to be called store. So we will create a new folder, and this is our store. Where did he create that? Even outside that again. So it's not a component, I think. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so no, he didn't create that here. He actually created it out in the source, right? And we're going to create a new folder here, and we're going to call this context. And he lowercased the c, so just following the same convention here. Oh no, then he changed it to store. And here we're going to have an auth context.js folder. So here we will do new file, auth context.js. Just going to go and make a coffee. I'll put you guys on pause because I'm hungry, so a coffee will tide me over for 10 minutes. I like to eat my food. So pause. Cool, so back on the attack with a coffee. Like, what should I, not back on the attack, well, we're attacking code, but you know, back on the, who knows if anyone has a suggestion for me that's not so, but anyway, if we're attacking code, that's fine too. But like, yeah, back on the attack, we'll stick with that. Okay, so we have our auth context created now, and we're just going to populate this file. Okay, so the reason that we didn't give it, what did he just call that? Pascal case? I think so. Yeah, Pascal case. So this is Pascal case, which clearly I've just been made privy to because I sound very shocked. Is this not camel case? I thought it was camel. I've called it wrong in the past, and camel case. I should check all the cases. Pascal. And then we've got snake case. Guy in work told me that. The same guy who was helping me out earlier, he was like, you know, a snake case. And it just made perfect sense, because now it doesn't make sense when I'm trying to explain it, but it made sense. Like, just all lower cases. Oh no, that's kebab. That's kebab. What was snake again then? Too many cases. So this is snake case. Oh, okay. That's kebab case because it looks like a kebab. Do you know? There's the meat and the stick, and then I want to know about camel. Pascal versus camel. It's easy to confuse camel and Pascal case. We'll show you a difference along with some examples. Oh, these are the examples. I was like, I don't want to know about these exceptions. So this is Pascal. Okay, so Pascal is each letter, each word is capitalized. That's Pascal case. Camel case is where you start with a low one. Okay, and then you go high. Okay. I mean, a camel. So anyway, at least we know. Let's not get confused. Pascal case is every single letter is large. This is the convention for naming your components in React. We use Pascal case. That's where these terms are coming from. It's just a computer term, you know. So let's go through the terms. This is important. Then we have camel case, because someone will mention it to you and you'll just be like, until you know everything is learning, we're learning. So Jenkins, and then capital S on the second letter. So camel case is where the first letter is lower case. First letter of the first word is lowercase, and then each subsequent word has a capital letter. So that's what's going on there. And please do as well tell me, anybody listening to this, I mean, you know, I know however many people are watching at the moment. But if more people start watching, and you know, or even if they don't, if the same amount of people watch these videos, whoever's watching them, thanks so much. But if you are watching them and I'm talking too quickly, I'm not explaining something well, which I feel I'm doing both of those things, not explaining things well and just blabbering on at a very quick pace. But so let me know, you know, I'm putting this time in and I want to try and give you the best experience. I know that my videos lag. I'm trying to work on that. I really just need to sort that out. But I have a few solutions actually, yeah. Great, that reminded me. So I think I have a solution. But which involves getting some equipment first, but you know, we need to get that sorted, so that's going to happen. And then yes, do let me know if I am talking too quickly, if you cannot understand me, because you know, I want this to be a learning experience. So that's what camel case is. It's where the first first letter of the first word is lowercase, and then subsequently every word is higher case. So anyway, that's what camel and Pascal are. And then we have our snake. It is a snake. You get a snake. Have you ever seen that video? I'm a snake. It's very good. Just type in I'm a snake. Some guy with a hat snake, with a snake hat on, and he's pretending to be a snake, and I think it's hilarious. So then we have all capitalized letters with an underscore. That's snake case. And then you've got kebab case, which is probably the easiest one to remember because it's literally a kebab, and I'm hungry and now I want a kebab. So although I'm going to have some lovely porridge. Porridge is my jam. Jam is my porridge. I love porridge, I love jam. I won't be having jam in it today, but it's a good combination. I'll be having peanut butter and banana and some seeds. So porridge time soon, in 3 minutes. Exciting. So let's continue. Auth context. So that's why we have named this auth context, not in any other case than just lowercase. Oh no, kebab case. The one that's the easiest to remember is because it's not a component. So we want to specify that this isn't a component and not confuse people by giving it the Pascal case naming convention, which is reserved for components in React. So that's why we've named this in a slightly different fashion. It's to delimitate, I was going to say, but that's not the word I was looking for. Don't even think that is a word. To differentiate between the two file types and what they're doing at a first glance. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so we set this up like a normal React file at the beginning, or we at least import React, I should say. Okay, so yes, we just import React here because we are still going to use React to help us do things, and as always from React. And then we are going to declare a const auth context, because that's what we've called this context. And although this isn't a component itself, it's interacting with components. And what did Max say? It will be an object that also contains components. So because of that, that's why we are declaring it like that in here. But at least the file sort of tells us that it's doing something slightly differently here. It's not a component in itself, it's an object that contains components. So then we're going to use React here to create content, open up our curly parentheses, open up our straight parentheses, Then open up our curly parentheses. Well, they're not that straight, are they? And then we have our is logged in boolean here, our state management in, and we're just going to set this to false. Cool. False. And then I just need to close this off. Okay. Oh, well, bang on the money, honey. We just reached the hour, but I'm just going to say what, because I think he's just going to export it now, possibly. Yeah. So then we're going to export default auth context. And this is a great place to stop if you're going to ask me. Because we've just set up our auth context file. We don't need that semicolon there. And because this is, I don't know why we don't need it, but we just don't. It was given an error, as you can see. So I'll get rid of it. Let's just see what the error says. Oh, a comma. Right, so this takes in different things. So this isn't where this should terminate. Either we're going to pass something else in, or we pass in what we're passing in. So the other options must be optional. So we've passed in the first option to this create context. Aha, and we can also get some information about that. So we have a boolean, then we can have a default value being passed in, and then tell it what to do on react.context. So okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is just go to terminal, new terminal, add everything, commit it, and I'm going to just do this on the video because I keep forgetting to commit and to push. I hate to see what my GitHub looks like because I just haven't been bloody doing it, you know. Even though I've been at this every day. But hey ho, I'm just happy I'm still learning. It's not all about the visuals, but it is really, really great, you know, to just see those lights going up and think, I'm a coder, look at all my lights. But look, I'm a coder anyway, so we don't need to be worrying about that. So then we're going to do git commit message, pass in our message and give it our message. So this is going to be chapter 10. Whoo! We are flying it, lads. Oh, this is super duper. Wow. Great. We're a third of the way through. We're a quarter of the way through 100 days of code, and we're a third of the way through our course. So it looks like we actually might be set to finish this early, and then I'm gonna know so much about React. So exciting. So this, it really is so exciting. Like, this is just great. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So glad whoever sticks around and watches these with me until the hour, that yous are with me as well. It's really, really great. So this is using the React context API, and we set up our auth context. So cool. It's a good commit message, we know what's going on, and then git push. So super duper, lads, we're finished the hour. Thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate you all so much, and have a wonderful day. Let's get to it. So yes, it's the morning, time for me to go and eat my porridge. So thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and peace.